We look at LARP lightsabers and why they can improve our lightsaber fencing quite a bit.
This is the Kitsune clan, a group of sword enthusiasts who like cosplay, reenactment, and historical martial arts. If you have similar interests, feel welcomed.
In one of our last videos, we complained why lightsaber duels suck so much. And one aspect we came to in the end was that it's not the fault of the practitioners, it's the fault of the props, because the props teach us certain things that we should avoid to make the lightsaber duels look better, and these limitations really come directly from the common polycarbonate props with the metal grips. We therefore want to explore other types of lightsaber simulators, and today we test LARP type lightsabers. And in fact, already on first look, they have quite some advantages and they can probably overcome a lot of the limitations that we have with the polycarbonate type lightsabers. And therefore, if we are interested in good simulations of lightsaber duels and understanding the mechanics of lightsabers as far as is possible, they offer us quite some possibilities, and we want to point these out. Of course, it would be much better to have real lightsabers, and there are a lot of people that play around with plasma to get to that point, but what all of these forget is a lightsaber, a proper lightsaber, is more than just plasma. You need a kind of crystal, either a kyber crystal or a colon crystal, and without that it will never be a true lightsaber. It might be a type of plasma sword, but not a true lightsaber. Anyway, here are some simulators that we want to introduce, and what do they offer us? These are lightsabers with switchable blades, so they are screwed into the handle. As you can see, these handles are inspired probably by Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber and by Anakin's lightsaber. There are several colors of the blades available. Here we choose to have red and blue. What's now the advantage compared to common lightsabers? Yeah, these ones are made for LARP, which means they are soft to a certain degree and have a latex finish, and they look a bit like baseball bats because they are getting wider towards the tip. That's in order to have enough material in the further distal, in the areas further towards the tip, to have more padding that they can meet the standards of LARP, live action roleplay. What these things allow us is we can strike with much more force than with common lightsabers because these things are made for that. That's the main point. In comparison to the polycarbonate lightsabers, we pointed out that a lot of people will not strike with a lot of force. With these ones, we can do that, and we can therefore do things like try to set aside the blade of the opponent, knock it aside to have then an open pathway to let another attack follow into the opening. This definitely makes a difference when it comes to shows. It looks simply different if you strike with more force, and these things here really allow for this aspect. Another cool aspect of being LARP weapons is the surface. The latex surface is very, very different from the polycarbonate surface. I don't want to say it's sticky because it's not really sticky, but if you are in bind, these things don't slide that much. They don't really glue together, but it's much less likely that the weapons slide, and this is really one aspect that makes a big difference to the polycarbonate lightsabers. This is much, much, much closer to how the blades behave in the movies and in the series. They have here true bind. You can play with the bind, you can feel the bind, and you can totally understand why lightsabers don't need any hand protection. Most of them, a few exceptions, but this really makes sense in this aspect. If you want to feel the bind with the lightsaber, this is probably the best prop to experience this and to train this aspect. Of course, when it comes to the sound effects, we don't have them here. That probably for a lot of people a big downside. For training lightsaber fencing, I think this is a big plus, because I made the point in the last video that in fact if you train for an hour or so, the ongoing swoosh swoosh wooey wooey sounds, they can be really annoying, especially if you want to train on a Sunday in a quiet neighborhood, this will probably not only annoy you, but also your neighbors. And so the LARP lightsabers have definitely something to offer here. More important, a lot of the bad behavior, the bad looking aspects of the lightsaber duels is that we have to be careful not to hurt our opponent with the polycarbonate lightsabers. And that's much less likely with the LARP lightsabers because they are padded, they are soft, they are made with the idea that I hit somebody without hurting the person. So that's, again, I can strike with more force. This is definitely a point. I can also use the handle here. I can do disarms, I can do arm bars, I can strike with the handle without having the fear to really hurt my training partner. And that also means I can throw these things. I can throw them without getting the danger to destroy my lightsaber, but also without getting my partner heavily injured due to the throw. That's really, really a big difference compared to the polycarbonate and even to the plastic type lightsabers. That also brings me to the aspect of price. In the other video, I made here the point that one reason why we don't throw our lightsabers is that we don't want to break them. And that's because these lightsabers often cost hundreds of dollars. And these LARP lightsabers don't cost hundreds of dollars. These ones I got for less than $100. So they are more expensive than a lot of the toy lightsabers, but they're definitely much, much cheaper than most of the polycarbonate ones, at least the ones that have more accurately designed handles. So this is definitely a plus here as well. And then one point that I made with the other type of lightsabers was the problem of intermixing with other weapons. And I'm not only thinking of Beskar lenses, I'm thinking of electro lenses and other electro weapons. This is something we want to see, right? This is something we want to show off. And this is now really easily possible because this is a LARP weapon. It can, of course, be combined with other LARP weapons. It can also be nicely combined with any type of cosplay weapon. So either PU foam, the lens we are using here, has also a polypropylene shaft and it works simply fine. This does not destroy the lightsaber. This does not destroy the cosplay weapon. This is definitely a big, big, big plus that we can see here. So it was in fact not so easy to find LARP lightsabers. I have not seen so many companies making these, and also the variation seems to still a bit limited, but it seems to develop. The company where I got them from also announced, I got these ones from Mask World, just to let you know. The company also announced that there might be purple blades coming out soon, which is of course interesting for all the Mace Windows cosplayers out there. Yeah, so it's not a big market section as far as I can see it, but it's hopefully a growing one because I was so happy when I got my first lightsaber and I played around with it, and I was so disappointed concerning the aspect that it did not simulate well. And here these LARP lightsabers, they offer so much in this direction. I can already hear a lot of you say, yeah, but I want to have this sound and whatever. I can understand where this comes from, and I hope there will be at a certain point interchangeable parts so that you have the option to combine the sound effects with such a blade here in a bit more padded type of handle as well. I hope there will be more possibilities because I think it's important for the idea of having a lightsaber fencing community that we don't stick to a single type of simulator, but use several types of different simulators for different aspects. And for a lot of these, this type of lightsaber here is definitely worth it. Maybe you give it a try. Maybe you can report back to us how you find these things useful or not. I would be very interested in that. Otherwise, we hope we could inspire you and hope to see you around next time.